Hello, hi, Leanne here. Today I'm going to respond to the question that a lady has asked me, a customer. She's agreed for me to discuss this on a YouTube video, but I am changing her name, okay, for the sake of privacy. So I'm going to call her Fiona. So, hello, Fiona. This is Fiona's question. I've jotted it down. Do you see potential for a relationship in the near future? It's not that I can't meet men. I hold back so much because I want to find someone I can really trust and because I have a child. Okay, Fiona, intuitively, I feel that yes, there is potential within the next few months, even before the end of this year, for some form of a relationship. And I say some form of a relationship because I can't see you launching into a really big relationship very soon. But there are likely to be two men that you are going to be considering or thinking about. Now, timing is a little hard to pin down when you're working intuitively, but my feeling is that it's going to be within the next 3 to 5 months, okay? One of these men is not really for you. There'll be some positives, some plus points to him. In my mind, I'm seeing him being kind of just out, just above tallish rather than really tall. That's how he appears to me. He's got a square-shaped face. His hair is naturally dark, even if it's going grey a little bit. It's still naturally dark. There's just something about him I'm not sure about. It's as if he could be really funny and really charming, but then you could talk to him another time or meet him another time, and he's very, very different. But you know what, Fiona? Your intuitive radar is pretty strong. And I'm not saying that to butter you up. I think you've learned a lot over the last 2, 3 years, and you've learned to suss things out for yourself. So, in a way, this man on paper could tick a few boxes, but when you get to associate with him more, you're really not so sure. So, okay, that's what I'm seeing. But, I don't believe that this he is going to be the person you're going to want to carry things forward with. There's something agitated about him underneath the surface. There's something changeable about him, something a little moody about him deep down inside, but you wouldn't see it initially. Okay. Now, the other man seems quite a nice guy in a lot of ways. He's got this funny way about him, this reflective way about him. He's got this. He's not an in-your-face kind of man, not that, very masculine energy. His hair isn't incredibly dark. Now, that may be because it's medium-ish in colour. I don't think it's dark anyway, even if it's got some grey in it. I don't think it's naturally incredibly dark. He's got more of an oval or angular-shaped face, and he's I see him in my mind, and he's sort of putting his head down to one side, and he's got a little mischievous smile in his eyes. He's got his little laughter lines around the side of his eyes, and he's funny. There's something quite self-deprecating about him. He feels to me a bit like a battered soul. But then again, aren't most of us in our own way battered souls? He's medium to slimish build. He's not a big build, but he's not a small man either. His hair, to me, looks as if he lets it grow a little bit, it can be a little untidy. I don't mean he's scruffy, but his hair has got its own bit of body in it. So I see high forehead. So it may be that he's got a high forehead or his hair is receding a little bit. It's not overly dark, but it's got as if he lets it grow, it could grow with a little bit of length. He's sometimes maybe finds it hard to really express himself through conversation. So he can chat, he can talk, but he's a man who's quite private by nature, quite sensitive. And in some ways, I could see where you could really relate to a man of this description, as if, completely different in energy to the other guy I described. Do you understand? So I see this guy coming up, and even if my timing is out, I know from past experience that maybe 60, 70% of the time, the timing is very good. But, I remember a good few years ago, a friend of mine who had a lot of consultations off me played back a recording that I'd given her, the previous 18 months, I think. And it was really interesting to hear because obviously I couldn't remember anything I'd said. So listening and then being able to pick things out and go, yeah. Now, one of the things was the time I gave her the consultation, she'd just met someone. And this was maybe about summer. And I said to her, this relationship, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was basically there were going to be issues or problems this coming Christmas. That's what I could see. Anyway, that Christmas, they weren't even together. He'd gone off to see a relative down south. The following Boxing Day, he handed her nightie and her slippers in a Tesco's carrier bag when she went to his house and said, that's it, done, finished. So it was exactly a year later, yeah? But it's not always like that, but I'm just explaining. I don't think that what I'm seeing is a long, long way down the track. However, now this is where realism comes in and common sense comes in. You have to use it. You say, it's not that I can't meet men. I hold back so much because I want to find someone I can really trust and because I have a child. Well, that's fine. Nobody would argue with you on that. You know, it makes sense. But on the other hand, we can't have it both ways. We can't. It's a dilemma. Relationships are the trickiest thing we enter into in life because, you know, the minute we love somebody, they could leave us or die. You know, it just is the way it is. But, you know, it's written into the fabric of the human story, of human evolution. And we're going to put ourselves through this and we're going to grow through this. So, you know, it's really for you, isn't it, going to be taking it step by step? Because there was one person in your past that you really found yourself caring for, that you felt really strongly connected to. But this probably wasn't even the biggest or longest relationship you'd ever had. And in a lot of ways now, you struggle to trust your own judgment. But the truth is, I think you can trust your judgment, okay? So, you know, so this is the way I see it, Fiona. You know, I hope I didn't, I'm not sure whether I let your name slip before. Anyway, if I did, I apologize, but never mind. Maybe nobody will notice. So yes, the answer to your question is, I do see potential for a relationship in the near future. And I think what you mean is not just potential for a relationship, because anyone can get into a relationship. What you mean is a relationship that's got potential. And that's really what you mean, isn't it? Now, I am not one of those consultants who talks about twin flames and soulmates. I'm sorry, I just don't. I know from doing research, and I know from a lot of my customers that they have been told by many, many other readers that this person is a soulmate, this person is a twin flame, and they've been together in a past life. Now, I can't comment on the past life thing. I'm not commenting on that. But, you know, I've been in this line of work for long enough, and I've been around the block plenty of times in my own life. And I can tell you, if soulmates exist, they are made, not found. We don't find a soulmate. We become soulmates over time through blood, sweat, and tears, as well as love and good times. Okay, so you're never going to hear that idealistic stuff from me. That's why some people don't like me, because they want the idealistic stuff. They don't care whether it makes sense or not. They just want to feel better now. So I would say that this man I'm describing to you now, I think you and he could really gel at one level, but I'm also saying that you're both in your own way battered souls, as most of us are, and that really, you know, it wouldn't be, oh, you know, the angels sing and the rainbows shine. This is a guy you will be able to get along with. This is a guy you will have laughs with. This is a guy who will listen to you, but he's also a guy who sometimes who will go into retreat. He's also a guy who will worry. He will worry. He will worry about not being able to be good enough in a relationship. He will worry about all kinds of things. And a lot of women forget that men worry. They do. You know, and no disrespect, but there are women around who they forget that the man is part of the relationship. It's his job to make them happy. It's his job to do this, that, and the other. But they forget men also have their fears. Now, okay, you know, if a relationship is not meant to be, it's not meant to be. We can meet somebody who can put them on a pedestal, but if they're not into us, or they reveal all these weird things that they've got going on, then obviously we can't change them. We have to let them go. So, you know, again, we're not being idealistic here, but I actually like the energy of this man. And I think that, you know, he will, in some ways, you and he will mirror one another, from the fact that you'll both have had painful experiences in the past, as a lot of us have, and that you're both cautious and anxious about not getting into something that could end up, leading to more pain. So it would be a step-by-step process. But at any point, remember, we live in a dimension of free will. If there was only one pathway ahead of any of us, written in stone, there wouldn't be any point in being alive, because all we'd be doing is acting out some script pre-written for us in advance. So you still have the power of choice even here. So, for example, I've said to you, I can see you crossing paths with this guy who's naturally dark-haired, but not keen on his energy, okay? You could decide when you cross paths with a guy like this to hang on in there, to hang on. You could choose that. The purpose of a consultation, and there is only one purpose, there is no other purpose, and it is to gain insight and information, so we're pre-informed. Okay, so you will have the power of choice. I'm not suggesting you live by everything I say, but what I am saying is that at least you can keep it at the back of your mind, and then you can use it when you're making your judgment. So that's two guys. I do see a little bit flirtation with a guy with a bald head and sparkly eyes and a round face at some point. But I think that's all it is. It's a flirtation. He's probably not even free. But you know what? What's wrong with a bit of flirtation? Excuse me. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's my answer to your question. Okay. So thank you very much and good luck with that.